Master Edgar Dreadberry found Halloween a bore. Yawn. The whole business of costumes was a miserable chore. Should he dress as a pirate? Arr. A ghost? Ooh. A mummy? Mmm. A zombie? Erg. A clown? Honk. A ventriloquist dummy? Ugh. They're all equally crummy. I wish I could be something screamingly scary, something fanged and foul and horribly hairy. So instead of his customary costume store, Edgar visited a shop he'd never noticed before. It's called the Monster Shop. The emporium was dim and dark as a cell. Service, he called, banged on the bell. Ding! No one was there. I will help myself. Edgar found no costumes or masks on the shelf. He huffed. I've wasted my time. Then he noticed a contraption all covered with grime. Monsterator, he read. Insert one dime. Edgar's eyebrow arched. He grumbled, oh, why not? He climbed inside and dropped a coin in the slot. Then the Monsterator rumbled and hissed and clanged. The Monsterator flashed and clattered and banged. The transformation began as the engine noise rose. Edgar was monsterated from his knees to his nose, and monsterated some more from his teeth to his toes. When the machine finally quit, Edgar crashed through the door. He banged on his chest with his fists and roared. Roar! The sight of him frightened a gaggle of girls. Eek! And startled a family of squeamish squirrels. Eek! He horrified the tall. Eek! He terrified the small. Eek! Edgar Dreadberry frightened them all. He howled with laughter. What fiendish fun! I wish Halloween would never be done. But soon it was. Edgar was alone. There was no one left to scare. Everyone had gone home. Edgar yawned. Bah, he said, I've had enough monstering. I'm ready for bed. I'll return to the Monsterator and put it in reverse. I'll turn back into me and we'll look none the worse. But the shop was gone. It had vanished somehow. Drat, he spat. What shall I do now? Edgar stomped home by way of the wood. He growled, I suppose I'm a monster for good. At first, the butler and maid were aghast, but their fears of being eaten by Edgar soon passed. Edgar grew fond of his freakish new features. He relished his role as a monstrous creature. Especially each fall when the trees dropped their leaves and darkness fell on All Hallows Eve. Now tykes tiptoe as they trick and they treat near the Dreadberry house at the end of the street, for there beside the bubbling bog lurks a monsterated creature obscured by the fog. though some may mistake it for a vampire bat, a werewolf, a witch, or a large mutant rat. Those things pale when compared with the sight of Master Edgar Dreadberry on Halloween night. Grrr. The end. All right. So at the end of the story, at the end of the Monstrator book, I do something interesting. I wanted to make it possible for the readers to monstrate Edgar yourselves. So at the end of the book, you can see Edgar there. Let me see. Let me get a. Okay, I'm going to switch back to my camera for a second so we can see each other. I think. Here we go. Okay, so at the end of the book, can you guys see me? Shake your heads if you can see me. Yes? Okay. So at the end of the book, see, I made Edgar on one side of the page right here, and then on the other side of the page, I created, am I sharing this screen? Can you guys see that? Hang on. Hang on. Here we go. Now can you see me?
Yes, we can see you now.
Okay, cool. All right, sorry about that. So at the end of the Monstrator, I created Edgar on one side of the page, and then on the other side, I have all these different monsters, and you can fold the flaps over and they fit over Edgar's body perfectly, and you can mix and match and make all these monsters. So now I'm going to switch back. I'm going to show you how it works. Switch back to the other screen, and I'll show you how this works. Okay, so there's Edgar, and I created 5 different monsters that you could use to monstrate Edgar with. There was Buggy and Frankelina and Robbie, Lizzie, and my Uncle Ned. So you could mix and match and create all these different kinds of monstrations of Edgar, like this, or like this, like this. You could do this, or how about this? Here's one. I like that one. Or there's this one. You could do this. Create this. How about that? Or that one. So believe it or not, there's 625 different combinations you can create using the monsters and monstrating Edgar. So hope you guys get a chance to check that out. The library may have this book and you can check it out and play with it yourself if you like. Okay, so let's go to the next story. This one is called Chicken Big. Now this is a production that actually Jennifer told you guys about beforehand, that the theater group run by Kristen Miller and her group, Books Alive, put on a show based on this book. This is one of my favorites, and I'm going to read you this one now. So the story begins with the 4 not very bright chickens trying to decide what the title of the book should be. "What should we call this book?" says the rooster. "How about Chicken Kind of Large? Or Chicken Tall? No, Chicken Salad." "Wait, I'm having a brainstorm. Let's call it Chicken Big." "That's it." On a teeny little farm, in an itty-bitty coop, a very small hen laid a big, humongous egg. Bok! The egg began to shake. The egg began to quake. Out popped a big, humongous chick. "What is it?" crowed the little rooster. "It's big," clucked the small chicken. "It's enormous," clucked the smaller chicken. "It's an elephant," peeped the smallest chicken. He's too big to stay in our itty-bitty coop, crowed the little rooster. Much, much too big, clucked the small chicken. He'll break the floor, clucked the smaller chicken. Indoor elephants are dangerous, squawked the smallest chicken. I don't feel like an elephant, thought the big chick. I wish I were a chicken. No elephants allowed. The next day, an acorn fell and conked the smallest chicken on the head. The sky is falling, she peeped. Run for your lives. So the chickens ran for their lives. Quack, 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 quack. Don't worry, said the big humongous chick. It's only an acorn. They're actually quite tasty. I don't think elephants eat acorns, said the little rooster. I heard they only eat popcorn, clucked the small chicken. Maybe he's not an elephant, clucked the smaller chicken. The smallest chicken looked closely at the big humongous chick. Ah, my mistake, she peeped. He must be a squirrel. A squirrel, thought the big humongous chick. Later on, the smallest chicken was pecking for worms when a raindrop splattered on top of her head. The sky is leaking, she peeped. We'll all drown. Run for your lives. And the chickens ran for their lives again. Relax, said the big humongous chick. It's only rain. Come stand under my wings and you will stay dry. I've never seen a squirrel do that, crowed the little rooster. Not very squirrelish at all, clucked the small chicken. Squirrels don't keep you dry in the rain, clucked the smaller chicken. I see what you're saying, peeped the smallest chicken. Apparently, he is an umbrella. These are not bright chickens, thought the big chick. After a while, a chilly wind began to blow. Someone has put the world in the refrigerator, peeped the smallest chicken. We're all going to freeze. Run for your lives. They didn't get far. Don't panic, said the big humongous chick. It's only the north wind. Stand behind me and I will protect you. The chickens all felt much better. An umbrella would have turned inside out in this wind, crowed the little rooster. He's not inside out as far as I can tell, clucked the small chicken. I'm all warm and comfy now, clucked the smaller chicken. Only one thing makes me feel this way, peeped the smallest chicken. Plainly, this fellow is a sweater. This is getting ridiculous, thought the big humongous chick. At nap time, the little chickens returned to the coop and found all their eggs were gone. We've been robbed, crowed the little rooster. By an egg burglar, clucked the small chicken. Woe is me, clucked the smaller chicken. Woe is me too, peeped the smallest chicken. The chickens all began to boo-hoo-hoo. But the big humongous chick saw a sneaky red fox carrying the eggs into his den a mile away. Oh, no, you don't. With three giant hop-hop-hops, the big humongous chick caught up to the fox just as he was about to make himself a scrambled egg supper. Yikes, said the fox. A hippopotamus! I don't think so, said the big humongous chick, but you are a naughty thief. The frightened fox ran away with his tail between his legs, having lost all interest in poultry. In no time, the big chick was stomping back to the coop with the missing eggs. Our babies, cried the happy little chickens. Our hero, they all clucked. Yay! I knew it all along, crowed the little rooster. He's no elephant. He's definitely not a squirrel, clucked the small chicken. He's surely no umbrella, clucked the smaller chicken. He couldn't be a sweater, peeped the smallest chicken. Only one thing could be so smart, so kind, so warm, and so brave. Clearly, he's a cow. No, shouted the others. He's a chicken. The big, humongous chick was thrilled to find out that he was a chicken after all. Oh, thank goodness, he said. Now I can move back into the coop. Actually, it's a rather small coop, crowed the little rooster. It's itty bitty, clucked the small chicken. Teensy weensy, clucked the smaller chicken. But we'll make room, peeped the smallest chicken. He still sounds like an elephant. The end. All right. So we're going to do one more quick book reading, and then we're going to play a drawing game. So you guys get ready. This one is called Frank Was a Monster Who Wanted to Dance. This was my first book ever, and it's a lot of fun to check out Frank's world. Here, Frank was a monster who wanted to dance. Here we go. Frank was a monster who wanted to dance. He said, I know I could boogie if they gave me a chance. Meow. So he put on his hat and his shoes made in France. He opened a jar and put ants in his pants. He drove to the theater, Yahoo! And jumped on the stage. Then he danced like his shoe size instead of his age. Frank shook his shoulders and strutted his stuff. The audience screamed. They couldn't get enough. Bravo! Fab! Wow! Boffo! Check this out. Frank did a cartwheel. Yippee! Frank did a flip. Yow! When suddenly his head began to unzip. Uh-oh. Out flopped his brain, which plopped on the floor. Eek! Yuck! Eek! Which loosened his eyeball, which rolled out the door. Boink, boink, boink. Meow. And after his arm fell out of his sleeve, oops! The horrified audience started to leave. Yikes! Run! Oh! But Frank kept dancing. He said, what the heck? And laughed as his head fell off of his neck. He said to himself with a one-eyed glance, I might be a monster, but man, can I dance. The end. Is everybody ready to play the drawing game? You got your pencils and paper ready? So you guys, I'm going to switch on my screen. You're just going to watch me on this one, okay? And then you're going to see how I do it. And then we'll do it all over again. And we'll pick 3 new animals. And you guys will do it. You do some drawing of your own, okay? So everybody just watch me on this one. And here we go. Everybody see how that was done? So what I did is I drew a dog's head, right? And then I put cow's horns on him, and I drew an elephant's body with a cow's udder on the back, and he's saying moo. So you guys can see, the only rules are you have to use something from each animal in your drawing. So if everybody's ready, let's start drawing on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zebra, pig, fish, go. Okay, we've got penguin, chicken, hamster. This is an all-time first. Nobody has ever drawn a penguin, chicken, hamster before. in the history of the world, but we're going to do it right now. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Penguin, chicken, hamster, go. We're going to combine all three names into one name. Can you do that? Penguin, chicken, hamster. I'll see if I can come up with one. Okay.
Hand penguin chick.
Okay, chorus.
Hand penguin chick.
Hi, my name is Richard, and I draw zebra, fish, and pig, and penguin, chicken, and hamster.
Yeah, that. I love the stripes you did. Very bold stripes there, Richard.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. There's a good one. I like those eyes you got. Those big dark eyes.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Does everybody out there know that an illustrator is a book drawer, the person that draws the pictures in a book? And I just was wondering if anyone ever had a dream of being an illustrator and if they wanted to ask Mr. Graves maybe about writing books or illustrating books.
I see a cool little thing. Someone drew a nest and put a little toy bird on the nest.
How do you draw expressions on your pictures? Do you take pictures of yourself doing the expressions and then copy it?
Yeah, kind of. That's a good question. How do you draw expressions? Yeah, I kind of know how to get whatever expression I'm going for, usually without looking at my face. But yes, I look at other people's faces or my own face, and when I'm feeling a certain emotion, and try to see what expression most clearly tells that emotion. So like, what do the eyes do? It's usually just the mouth, the eyes, and the eyebrows, but there's also gesture and the way you tilt your head or the way you hold your body, that expresses emotion as well in your picture. So yeah, it takes a lot of practice, and I still, all the time I have to pose myself and look at my face to see what a particular feeling should look like.
You ever make other people pose for you?
Well, sometimes, but I'm usually alone, so it usually has to come down to me, even if I'm drawing, an animal or a child or something like that. So, it's good that no one sees what I do in the studio.
There is a question, Mr. Graves, in the chat, and it was if you have any one tip on drawing.
Any one tip? Well, practice makes perfect, so that's true in just about everything. And it's true in drawing for sure. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And so I would suggest you do that. The other thing is, you guys are in the Houston area. I've always found one thing that really inspired me to draw was going to the museum and looking at paintings and drawings and stuff. It always made me want to go straight home and break out the paint.
Have you ever gotten the ears right? The ears are really hard.
Ears?
Yeah, the ears.
Yeah, ears are kind of funny that everybody has a different kind of ear, If you look at the details of your ear and then somebody else's ear, it's usually different, I mean, it's generally the same thing, but all the little curly cues inside, each one is kind of different, like a fingerprint.
You have another question in the meeting chat, Mr. Graves, and it is, if you weren't an author, what would you be?
I see. I see the chat now. What would I be if I weren't an author? Well, I mean, I like to do art and paint and stuff, so I'd probably do that. When I was young, though, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a secret agent And then I wanted to be a professional football player or professional any kind of sport player. Actually, anything would have been good. But now, I guess art would be the thing I would want to do, or maybe a scientist. I like science a lot.
What do you recommend for age 9 for like learning perspective? Because he's enthusiastic, but he's definitely at the point where, lacking. And so did you take classes as a kid, or did you observe things? How did you get the knack for adding perspective to your drawings? And at what age do you think it's appropriate to get into that?
Well, whenever, what is your son's name?
Elias.
Eli, yeah. Whenever Eli feels like he's wants to get into it, I don't think it's too early. It's a simple concept. The things that are closer to you are bigger, and distorted in a way. But honestly, I didn't really know what perspective was until college. And we didn't. And unfortunately, my schools didn't have art classes until I was in college. So I never had any art classes till college. But there in the great Houston public schools or whatever school you're in, there's probably an art class, and it's pretty simple. You could look it up on the web and just see how to draw in perspective, and there are simple approaches to it. If you're drawing, it's usually easiest to understand with something that's like a cube, or if you're drawing a house or something like that, that's pretty easy. If you're drawing a box, it's a little more difficult when you're drawing things that are wobbly and like people and so forth. But you can get out the mirror and put your hand out and see there's perspective right there. You see how big my hand is, so you could do that. If you're drawing superheroes, I see you're playing with a figure there. Usually in the comic books, the superheroes, in order to get a lot of drama in the pictures, they draw them, with their fist out or something like this, and with perspective. So if you like those kinds of drawings, perspective is great to add in,
When you're an illustrator, you can do and be anything you want to be in the book. You don't have to be just one thing. You can be tons of things.
Yeah, being an illustrator is very free. You can illustrate your book any way you want.
You can let your imagination run free.
Yeah, is that what you like to do?
Yeah, I just like to think of something and then try to draw it.
That's a great way to do it.
There is another question in the feed here. It says, do you share your sketches with other people, or do you feel shy unless the drawing is perfect?
No, I don't feel shy anymore. Maybe I did when I was a kid, but I don't now because I've done it so much. So yeah, I mean, if people want to see my bad sketches, that's okay with me. But yeah, I'm fine with sharing. I mean, all these drawings I did with you guys today are obviously not the best drawings I've ever done in my life, but it was fun doing them, So there's always something good about whatever drawing you're doing, even if the whole thing is not so great. There's always something good in there. So I like looking at rough sketches of people and sharing my own.
I see another question. This is from Lily, Valerie, and Julie, and they're asking, what is your favorite subject to draw?
Favorite subject to draw? Wow. Well, I think just funny things. I enjoy drawing funny things. I was really into drawing comics and cartoon characters when I was a kid, and that holds true today. I mean, I like drawing things like Chicken Big and Frank the Monster and so forth, and yeah, humorous things are what I enjoy.
FK is asking, what was your favorite cartoon show growing up?
Oh yeah, let's see. My favorite cartoon show. There were a lot of them. Maybe probably Bugs Bunny. It's oldie but goodie. But there were a lot. I mean, there were all kinds. There was Oh, geez. I enjoyed, the Grinch movie by Dr. Seuss, the animated one. Um, but as far as shows, I liked any cartoon when I was a kid. The Flintstones, I used to watch that.
Madeline and Theodore asked, how do you come up with the idea of what to draw, like Frank the Monster?
Yeah, well, sometimes I tell you, that's a good question. Here's the answer. I keep one of these little books around. It's a little sketchbook. So anytime I have an idea, I open my sketchbook and I write down the idea. Here's all right. Well, here's an idea for a book, and I have not written this book yet, and I don't have the idea complete yet. But it's a book called Atticus Fetch, and the idea is that it would be about a dog that goes on a mission to fetch something that takes him on a great adventure. So I haven't written the book. It's just an idea in here. So to answer your question, here's another one. Here's more book ideas and drawing ideas. And here's one that is about a circus. Sometimes I write down words. Sometimes I draw pictures for the ideas. Here's a picture that I've stuck in here. Anyway, it's a really elaborate picture that I drew and I glued into my book. So with Frank Was the Monster, I drew it in one of these books. I drew Frank. I drew a monster before I knew it would even be called Frank or even that it would be a book. And at some point, I looked through my book when I needed an idea. I looked through my sketchbook. I've got a pile of sketchbooks now, lots of them. And Frank the Monster was in there, and I decided to try to write a story about that character. So that's how I did it. And the same with Chicken Big. It was just an idea that sat in my notebook for years, and then I finally went back to it and wrote a story about it. So my ideas come from all over the place, but I put them in my notebook so I don't forget them. Okay?
I want to know, what is your favorite cartoon show in the 1980s?
Cartoon show in the 80s?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man, let's see. I was a grown-up then, but I guess I liked, what was it called? Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that one?
No, the only cartoon I know is that is Inspector Gadget, the one that my dad showed me, and then I just fell in love with it too.
Yeah, I have seen that one before. That was a good one.
What do I do if I'm having trouble thinking up something to draw?
If you're having trouble thinking of something to draw? Well, sometimes I eat a banana and stare out the window until an idea pops into my head. I'm not kidding.
How do you draw like 3D shapes? Like 3D
3D?
things.
Well, that gets into what the other person asked about perspective, where you draw not only what's in the front, but what's on the side of something.
All right, well, we're going to let Mr. Graves go about his day, but this was such a cool chance for all of us to get to hear an author read his own book and to give us some great tips on drawing. Would everybody like to thank Mr. Graves for this awesome time he spent with us today?
Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess that's it. Hope you guys stay safe and have a fun summer.